This is episode 298 of the Clive Barker Podcast. Jose and Ryan go over the reveals and teasers hidden in the Revelatory interview with Clive Barker over at the Revelations website by Phil and Sarah Stokes. Plus, Candyman and Hellraiser news. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination shop is dedicated to benefiting the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Up to 50% of the proceeds will support the program where artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive and celebrates and continues to be inspired by his art. He uses that inspiration to help kids through the Texas Children's Cancer Center, and we couldn't be more thrilled to continue to work with him. There's a news feature video that shows Don working with the kids at Texas Children's Cancer Center and his artwork. Click the side banner at www.clivebarkercast.com to find links to videos and his Etsy shop where you can buy his prints and support this wonderful program. Check out his newest painting, Searching, shared on our Facebook page or on his Etsy shop. Welcome. This is episode 298 of the Clive Barker Podcast. Jeez, only two more to go until our big 300th episode.
Yeah, our 300th episode spectacular.
Technically, it's like 330, but...
yeah, with all the commentary tracks and extra sodes that we've done in the past. And but it's exciting. I mean, you know, it's been a long time.
And I think people who are on the fence about joining us for the episode 300 should really take a look at who's signed up on the to join us.
Yeah, we invited some, we reached out, you suggested we reach out to a lot of like our former hosts, people who were on the podcast, interviewees, authors and writers and actors that we've had. And, you know, some of them have agreed to come and they're pretty excited. Yeah. All right.
And other exciting people who have said that they might show up or they hope to, kind of a thing. So we won't, we'll just tease it, but we're not going to tell you who. You just have to join us to find out.
Well, it's not Clive, but it's still exciting.
There's a possibility.
Let's sell it.
Yeah. No, I mean, one of our past guests said he would talk to him, and he said he would do everything he could.
That's wonderful. So yeah. I mean, do we drop names or do we keep it as a secret until we can announce it?
I guess well, some of the names are actually signed on in the Facebook event. So you can look on there and see somebody who was in Nightbreed right away on there. Actually, more than one person who were in Nightbreed.
Oh yeah, someone who's very sassy.
Yeah, yes, and Simon Bamford is on there, and Hugh Ross.
Yeah. Oh boy, will I be excited about that, because the time that we had him on the podcast, I was not prepared for that. I was actually not even supposed to be on that episode.
Yeah.
Because I had a
bachelor party.
A friend of mine was getting married. We had a bachelor party, killer party. I told you I'm not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to do it on your own. And then I got home and it was like still a couple hours to go. And I'm like, okay, I'll join in. But I was like not prepared at all. So it
was rough.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I had a hard time too with that one.
I was a little rough too. But yeah, so very exciting. And there'll be, we're working on a little trivia thing with possible, interesting prizes.
So the first hour will be everybody gets to talk to the Clive Barker alums who are there, talk to each other. We can show off our stuff, talk about whatever we want to talk about. And then the second hour, we have this trivia contest planned for prizes. And I finally, because we've been kind of moving stuff, and I finally found my bin with all of the Kickstarter stuff in it. So I can start actually looking at what the prizes are this weekend.
Watch out, Oscars and Grammys. We're taking over.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be a trivia contest, and we've got a long list of easy and medium, intermediate, and hard questions. So actually, we came up with more hard questions than anything, so we're going to have to try to balance that out. It's because the easy ones aren't that fun to write.
Yeah. It's like, the stuff that's almost like the questions that you need to answer to get into Occupy Midian. Who is the inventor of Nightbreed? And, that sort of stuff. Like any guy worth his salt.
What's Clive's last name?
Oh, yeah. Baker.
Right. Cussler.
Oh, boy. I actually went to a Books A Million. I mean, I guess they don't call it Books A Million anymore. They call it Books and Company now.
Oh.
But the price tags still say Books A Mill, whatever. And I was there and I was looking for Clive Barker. They didn't have anything in that store. I was like, God damn it. I know. And I was looking for Paul Kane too. And not there. But I guess, Paul Kane is British. So I guess it might be hard for some store in Ohio to have his books. But, missed opportunities, Books A Million.
Yeah. You just lost yourself a customer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They had butterbeer from Harry Potter for some reason, but it's a thing. It's a thing now. It's a thing.
What does that taste like? Is it beer? It's not beer, right? It's like root beer.
No, it's a soda.
Right?
Yeah, it's like it's like a soda, very sweet soda, very fizzy stuff. But yeah, now it's a thing. It's like you get these stores that sell these chocolates, or drinks or whatever, and it's kind of weird. But all these toys and stuff that people make now, there's more stuff other than Funko Pops. Now there's like other little. There's one new line of toys from Lord of the Rings. Oh yeah, that became like a merchandise line of its own. It's like you can't go into a place without finding toys from Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or well, there was a new Sabrina. There was a Sabrina book in there, an actual book. So they're novelizing some of the stuff, some of the stories, I guess.
Wow.
But it was cool. I've been putting up some new shelving in my house. I've been putting up shelves
that looked really cool.
Yeah, for my. Well, the shelves were supposed to be for my VHS, for my DVDs and Blu-rays, but it ended up just being taken over by the VHS because those things are just so damn big.
Yeah. That's why people end up stacking them vertically. Or, so they're... So you just see the little tops,
Oh, yeah. I was doing that.
That has the title on it, too.
Right. I was doing that in my home in Arizona because I had more limited space in the little under-the-stairs closet that I was going to turn into like a little... video store.
Right.
I had such great plans for that, but now in Ohio, we also have I'm kind of growing into this house that we got going here, but yeah. So I got some blinking lights, and I just wrapped that thing around the bookshelf, and now it's like a little video store. So cool. It's 7 feet tall, so it's taller than me. That's all I needed for a shelf of movies to be a little taller than me. Because that way I feel like I can look just straight ahead and I can all I see is movies. And
you can put management choice or whatever and have a shelf that's just like the manager's picks.
Yeah, I have the top floor, the top layer on top of the shelf. I have Lord of Illusions. I have Nightbreed. I have Hellraiser in the center. I have a little box from Hellraiser. And, I have some few my choice possessions there.
Do you have a videotape rewinder?
I do.
All right.
Yes. It doesn't look like a car.
Save your VCR.
It's a Kineo tape rewinder. It doesn't look like a car. I know those are popular. But this one only rewinds back. It doesn't go forward. I had another one when I was younger that did go forward and backwards.
I didn't know that those existed. I mean, all the ones I ever saw, you just push them in and close it, and it just starts rewinding. There's no buttons or anything. Yeah,
and what's crazy? I saw a page on Facebook that was selling VCRs.
Yeah, I've been seeing that advertisement too. It's a VCR DVD combo, right? So you can
you saw it too.
So you can record your videotapes onto DVDs. Which is
it's called Rad VCR.
It's kind of a hokey idea, right? Because DVDs are even sort of on their way out.
I mean, DVDs have been pretty successful. They still sell more than Blu-rays right now. So,
do they?
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at an article the other day. They said that there's still a lot of, DVDs are still a big chunk of the market.
DVDs have sort of taken the place of VHS in the bargain bins and stuff now.
Yeah, because they're cheap to make and, they're accessible. Everyone can play it on a computer or a DVD player.
Or a
DVD players
player,
are cheap. Yeah.
That was one cool thing about Blu-ray players is they're backwards compatible. It's the first time ever that a video format could do that.
Yeah, and you could play CDs in there too. So that's pretty cool. But and you've seen Godzilla versus King Kong, right?
Oh yeah. It was. I thought it was awesome. We were just talking to somebody who was disappointed, but I thought it was really cool. I couldn't go see it in the theater, which would have been my choice because our theater. I guess all Regal cinemas are closed down indefinitely. And ours is a Regal cinema, and it's the only one we have.
That sucks. Yeah.
We had a little dollar theater type place that was also a bar, but they burned down.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. Jeez. Wow.
So
they burned down.
We've got nothing. So I signed up for HBO Max, and it's expensive. It's like $15 a month. So but there's a lot of stuff on there that I have never seen. Like I'm really behind on DC movies. I saw Man of Steel, and I never saw any of them after that.
Yeah, I'm not a big DC movie connoisseur. I was more into the Marvel movies, and even those there's quite a few that I haven't seen yet. But
it's hard to keep up, and then people are talking about them all the time, and I don't know what they're talking about. So
I find myself trapped in a loop of watching things from the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah,
especially on VHS.
Yeah.
Should I watch King Kong versus Godzilla, or should I watch this VHS copy of Flashdance?
But your D&D character is just always disgusted by the VHS movies, and he always says, "No, I'm just going to bed."
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be this, librarian guy, so it's like, Disney cartoons; those are for children in his Order X. Anyway,
yeah.
The Jericho 77 Squad. Have you listened to the episodes? They're really awesome.
Yeah. Well, should we get into the news?
Yeah, let's do that while I have a little drink here.
So from the Reef, first off, Candyman. There's a Candyman documentary, which is actually seems like it's scheduled to come out now before the Candyman movie comes out. It's called The Complete History of Candyman Documentary, a Bryn Kurt and James Hammond film. Yeah.
The trailer came out, right? It was reported by several websites, including Bleeding Cool and now us, the Clive Barker Podcast. I saw the trailer. What did you think of it first?
I didn't watch the trailer, honestly. I just saw the story. I don't know.
It's 1 minute and a half. It's 1 minute and 33-second trailer. Yeah. And I looked at it, and it looks it looks interesting for sure. I don't know anybody who shows up in the documentary. Mostly it seems like it's people who work for websites and magazines talking about their experience with Candyman.
Really? So there's no Tony Todd or Bernard Rhodes or Clive Barker?
I don't think so.
Or Nia DaCosta?
It says The Complete History of Candyman presents an in-depth investigation into the series, the author, and the up-and-coming Jordan Peele reboot from brand new and archival interviews from scholars and creators, from the voices who survive the genre's past trends to those shaping its future. So
I wish they wouldn't call it a Jordan Peele reboot. I mean, it seems like everybody you talk to thinks that Jordan Peele is the director. And you have to explain to them, no, he's in the production company that's making it. Nia DaCosta is the director.
Exactly.
And she's getting overshadowed by him and his series of movies.
Yeah, I think that's because it's a bigger name that people get attached to, and it's easy to get distracted by that. But yeah, you're absolutely 100% correct. But the trailer that I saw didn't have a lot of stuff in there that seemed like it was going to be interviews with the kind of people that you were talking about. It also suffers from the syndrome of pandemic documentaries, which is a lot of stock footage and a lot of people standing either in front of a white wall or in front of a bookshelf talking into their computer.
Yeah.
So,
which is also what you see in a lot of behind the scenes and like, DVD extras and things.
But, that said, I mean, I'm sure it's done from a place of heart and a place of like care for the Candyman series. I mean, there's people, I saw one guy in the trailer. He was talking about his experiences watching Candyman when he was a younger kid and how that made him afraid to go into public bathrooms and stuff like that because he remembered the story, the little kid who got his like wiener cut off.
Oh, yeah.
That they say in the first Candyman.
Right.
So, yeah, there's people like that talking about Candyman. So, I mean, they're probably going to use archival interviews of Tony Todd and maybe Clive Barker. So it didn't show up. Tony Todd shows up as an archival interview that they did somewhere in a convention or something that I saw, but I didn't see any.
Even we've done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
we did that in line.
It says the complete history of Candyman will be out this spring, and my understanding was the Candyman movie is coming out in like August, I think, right?
Yeah, I guess they're trying to, to come out before that. Yeah,
you would think that they would have tried to get this as an extra on the Blu-ray or DVD of the new Candyman, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe it still will. Who knows? The world of movies is weird right now.
Yeah, tell me about it. It seems like even now that people are getting vaccinated and things are reopening, and it seems like a certain part of that theater going experience might be dead permanently, or at least for a long time, because we have to face the fact that not just cinemas were not just laying dormant all this time. Some of them actually closed down. Some of them just couldn't, afford paying the rent in like shopping malls and whatever. And it's going to take a long time for these, theaters spaces to actually come back, if they're ever going to come back. Well, and the online experience is going to be a complete, it's going to be now part of that movie premiering thing.
And if you can watch movies for $15, new movies that are just out for $15 a month on HBO Max, it makes it hard to drag all your whole family for $100 to a theater to go see that same movie.
Yeah, when you can just watch that while you're having dinner with your family or something.
Yeah.
There's a practicality there, but at the same time, you're missing out on the IMAX kind of like visuals or the Dolby surround or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I got rid of my surround sound because we don't have space anymore because we're giving up half the house. And so I just watched it with the TV speakers. And so the sound was funky. I mean, like I watched King Kong, Godzilla versus King Kong, and the sound was kind of funky. Like when it had trouble adjusting the volume of the dialogue with the volume of the speaking, or of the music and stuff. So it's like it was constantly shifting, and it would be quiet for a little while, and then it would kind of rise up and get a little louder when the music was quieting down, and it just sounded weird.
I hate it when that happens on TVs, when you're trying to understand what they're saying, and the music is booming so much that you can't understand. I
had that happen on Amazon Prime a few times when that service first came out too. So I wonder if HBO Max is just, needs a little time to perfect their streaming app.
Or if there's some hidden setting somewhere that you need to click the equalizer or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I thought, well, I wonder if it thinks I have surround sound when I don't, but then my Apple TV is telling it that I have TV speakers, so I don't know what how you figure that out.
I managed to connect my old Sony receiver, this silver gray thing from maybe, I don't know, the 90s or maybe the early 2000s. I bought this at a Goodwill for maybe $12, and this was like $300 when it was new, and I managed to connect my stereo to it, radio antenna to it, my TV to it. So now in the bedroom. So now I have all that stuff in the receiver, and you can do all sorts of things. So I miss that flexibility and control that we had over, inputs and outputs and how we listen to things. The hi-fi, the home hi-fi that seems to have disappeared from the mid-tier electronics.
The bedroom TV that I'm on now, I have a stereo receiver with like little Bose speakers attached to it for the computer sound. So if I don't want to hear computer sound, like right now, I've got headphones, so I just shut the receiver off and it's on a splitter, so I can do both or one or the other. Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's a little Pyle, Pyle. They make like current receivers, but they're small. Like they take up less space on your shelf.
Oh, I see.
Because my old one burned out a long time ago.
And I forgot to say, but that red VCR that I was talking about, that's actually just a rebranded VCR that you can find online, like on Amazon or eBay or whatever.
Oh, really?
They just put the little red VCR sticker on it, and they market it as something else. But I've seen that model. It's a very common model now for like DVD VCR combo. You can find that.
If you're recording a movie off of a VHS onto a DVD, then would it just autoplay, I guess, when you put the DVD in, right? It's not like it's going to help you build menus and stuff.
I don't have that capability with my VCR.
Yeah.
I have a combo VCR, but it does not connect.
I have a combo VCR too, and it's like, hey, are you doing videotapes or are you doing DVDs? And it even has separate outputs, so that the DVD can be higher quality.
Yeah. The one I got was actually from a school. I found it at a Goodwill, but it's probably one of those things that people would wheel out in a little library cart and be like, okay, kids, it's movie day today, because it had like a sticker saying property of high school so-and-so.
Okay.
Again, it was super cheap, like maybe $4 at Goodwill, and one of those 50% off Saturdays, which God bless those days.
Well, and also speaking of Candyman, a New York woman discovered an apartment behind her medicine cabinet. So, and we'll have a link to that story in the show notes. So that showed up on my Apple News feed, and I just thought, oh, that's funny. But it's actually probably really, if you think about it, it's probably not much of a news story. I bet that there's a lot of that, where just people have cheap apartments and the bathrooms are back to back, and so the medicine cabinets are probably touching each other through the walls.
Yeah, these millennials, they don't remember that stuff, but yep, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I think it was a TikToker, right? It might be a TikTok thing. But she did it in like 4 parts or 5 or whatever.
And her friends are like there going, no, don't you go through there. You don't know what's on the other side.
Yeah. But she's like, oh, my house is always cold. And I went to the bathroom and I found this draft. And it's like she films her hair moving inside the bathroom. And she's like, and I found out it comes from behind the pharmacy cabinet. And then it's like part 2. And then it's like part 2. It's like, oh, my God. There's like a space here behind my cabinet. And then part 3 is like, it's a whole apartment that's being renovated. And then part 4, she goes into the other apartment, walks around with her phone, and her friends are kind of freaking out. But honestly, it's just an empty apartment being painted with plastics and tarps. Nothing scary except for the fact that she's trespassing. But
right.
But they do mention something about Candyman in the video, right?
Yeah. What I have was a news story. I didn't even know it was a video.
Yeah. But I saw those 4 parts. It was kind of cool. I'm not into the whole format from TikTok, which is like you watch something for 3 minutes and then part 2, and then it's like you go to see another video. But but that was funny. That was a little thing that got Candyman back into the mainstream, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, you're right. I have trouble with TikTok. Like somebody shares a TikTok thing and then I click on it and it's like, "Hey, you need to sign back into your TikTok." And I'm like, "I don't remember what my sign in was." And then by the time I figure it out, whatever link that was is gone and it's just showing me their splash screen or whatever the most popular videos are. I'm like, "Well, I just wasted a bunch of time."
I don't even have a TikTok. That's the thing. It's like sometimes like, click here and you'll watch a video. And then you click and it's like, you have to log into or install the app. I'm like, I'm not going to install TikTok. I'm not in the habit of installing Chinese spyware on my phone.
Yeah, well, I think they were forced to sell. Right? I think an American company owns them now. Oh, boy. Remember when Trump wanted to turn down TikTok because they boycotted one of his rallies? That was fun. Yeah. So as a president, you just shut them down. Yeah. Anyway, but I found some stuff on Instagram. I found out I was scrolling on Instagram because I do have an Instagram account, but and all of a sudden you get these recommendations. And one of them was like, hey, you might, this showed up on my recommended or explore feed. And it was Doug Bradley's Hellware. And it's an Instagram account that only has like 2 images. And it says something like coming soon. And let's see if I can find that here. But yeah, it says coming soon, Hellware. And it seems like it's going to be a Hellraiser themed, Doug Bradley sanctioned Hellraiser clothing store. Yeah, and it's something got like a logo of this like fancy looking wreath around like a puzzle box and some nails and a chain. Yeah. And it's got a website too. It has a link to a website, but the website only says coming soon, find out when we open. Promotions, new products, and sales directly to your inbox. And then there's a little field that you can sign up for their mailing list. I'm guessing that when the website launches, you'll get an email. So it is hellware.myshopify.com. And it seems like it's going to be powered by Shopify. So that's interesting, I guess. We'll see what happens. It's probably, Doug and his artist partner that are going to be doing like a store with merchandise. So that's always interesting because now, with all the conventions being halted and stuff, there's companies like CPA Consignments that are making like the link between the fans and the performers to sign stuff. Like you can buy signed photos, or you can send your item for them to sign for a fee, and then they send it back to you with like a picture of them signing it and stuff like that. But this is a more direct thing for people like Doug Bradley to make some money. Yeah, it's cool, and it's like Nicholas Vince has a pretty cool online store, right? And we just saw our friend Catalina. She bought the only copy left that anyone can find of the Cabal Cut, the Blu-ray, the 2017 Blu-ray. She bought it from Nicholas Vince's store. So, and I think it was autographed too. Yeah, it's pretty neat. There's a new paperback edition of Weave World. And so I think that was just announced. I saw, thanks to Phil and Sarah for pointing this out. You can see a picture of it on the Simon & Schuster website. And it's got like a little, it's kind of like a wheel symbol in the middle of the cover. It looks like almost like the center of the loom, right? Maybe that's what it is, and it's circular to be like a world. Yeah, it's pretty. I love it. It's got like this maelstrom of fire, and then it has Clive Barker, and the V in Clive is making kind of a little wavy thing. Yeah. Very cool little paperback. I mean, it's glad to see Clive Barker books coming back in print in different editions. Yeah, that is cool. So, and it's $16.99. I guess, wow, paperbacks have gone up. I mostly just buy hardcovers. Yeah, they're not, $6.99 or $8.99 anymore. Yeah. It's a big book. That's cool. Yeah, it is a big book. That's true. And speaking of Doug Bradley again, he will be appearing at Monster Mania's outdoor convention. And this was just something I saw on Twitter. So it says Doug Bradley will join us for Monster Mania's first ever outdoor Little Mall of Horror at our new location, the Oaks Expo Center Fairgrounds in Oaks, Pennsylvania. So that's cool. It's a way to do one of these things with social distancing, I guess, right? Is to have it outdoors. Yeah, that seems like an interesting idea for Monster Mania. You've been to Monster Mania, right? Yeah. When it was in New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Right. And it's May 22nd through 23rd.
And the tickets are just $13. So you can go to monstermania.net and clear your calendar for May 22nd through the 23rd, because you can get to meet Doug Bradley again and get some stuff signed, which is always fun, and a way to get in touch with Doug, because until things get back to normal, I guess this is how we're doing things.
Yeah, well, an outdoor convention sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain.
Yeah.
May 22nd, I don't know. And Pennsylvania, Oaks, I've never been there, so I don't know how the weather is there.
Yeah, it could. So
I'm sure they'll be covering.
Our biggest news now is Clive Barker just had his 36th revelatory interview with Phil and Sarah Stokes over at clivebarker.info. And I saw this, it just popped up today as we're recording this, and I got a chance to, we got a chance to read it, and it's not like any other revelatory interview, is it?
No, it's, so if you go to the Clive Barker archive store, usually they have pieces there from Clive for sale, like either pieces on canvas or paper. Mm-hmm. And so this time they decided to come up with a batch of works for sale. And they kind of discuss a little bit about each one of the paintings that they have. And some of them have already sold out. So it's a fascinating little paragraph or two about each of these by Clive.
Yeah, and the neat thing about it was not only were they talking about the art, which is cool. I mean, we've had a fun time talking about art, but it's also, there were little teasers about Aberrat and about the upcoming project with Mick Garris in the text of this interview.
Right. So they talk about that Theater of Blood television project with Mick Garris that was mentioned in Mick Garris's podcast. Was that correct?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's a television project, because Mick. What they said was it's a Theater of Blood was a collection of Books of Blood style horror stories, and that it would be like a 7th volume of the Books of Blood.
Mm-hmm. I'm just reading what's on the top of the interview. It says, Clive speaks some teaser information on Aberrats 4 and 5 and confirming the Theater of Blood television project with Mick Garris along the way. Oh. So it seems like it will be done for TV. Maybe it's a streaming platform.
Oh, maybe it's a book and a television. Because just in the interview part, he mentioned it like it would be a 7th book in the Books of Blood.
Yeah, but they can make the stories visually, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it may not be. Maybe it's not a book.
Right. Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, it could end up having a companion book. Who knows?
So this was discussed on the painting called London Ghost, which he said there were some London stories in this new Theater of Blood that he's working on with Mick Garris that kind of inspired this painting. So I'm excited. Theater of Blood sounds cool. I mean, I want to see what it does end up turning into.
Yeah. So in that painting, London Ghost, Clive says, I've been writing a lot about London because of these stories, and I think you can probably now talk about the fact that I'm doing these Theater of Blood stories with Mick Garris. This is Clive Barker's Theater of Blood. It is 10 new, utterly new stories written in the tradition, if you will, of the Books of Blood, directly in that tradition. In other words, in my head, even though we're changing media, I am thinking that these are 10 more stories to become the 7th Book of Blood, if you will, and it was Mick's idea to call it the Theater of Blood, which I think is perfect. Yeah. And a couple of them are going to take place in London, and I wonder if this character is from one of those stories.
Well, he says in there that he's not may not be directly in those stories, but kind of inspired by them.
I see. Yeah. It's a wonderful ghostly figure with like a top hat.
Yeah.
And he has some ink droplets in water making the background, so the background looks very like there's lots of gradient in those splotches of color, and some bright pink.
Yeah.
He says, what's interesting about London Ghost is how perversely bright the pinks are. They imply that outside, that cold, I would suggest that figure is a cold figure. Happiness is going on that he has no access to. So that's quite a condition to be stuck in as a ghost, I guess.
And lots of these paintings have teaser. Lots of the description of these paintings have teaser information about Aberrat, right? Even the very first one called the Carrion Bird. He's talking about how, skipping right past book 4 and into book 5, there's going to be an army of carrion birds that serve Christopher Carrion, I think. I mean, that's what he's talking about.
I mean, in the war between night and day, what's one thing that happens in war? Casualties. Yeah. And what happens to the casualties on the field? They get eaten by carrion birds. Yeah. So I'm imagining that that's going to be related to that.
Yeah.
Yep. So
and the day of colors, right? We got so he's talking about how Chicken Town is going to be infected by this sort of delirium where everyone is hallucinating.
Well, they already think they were hallucinating the giant waves of water, at least until they have to clean out their houses. But yeah, that poor Chicken Town keeps getting hit with all sorts of things.
Because it gets invaded by the hallucinatory.
And they got also hit in book 3 by Candy's dad created a cult with a weird machine from the Aberrat, right? So that Chicken Town doesn't get a break. Now everybody's going to walk around tripping on acid.
Yeah, and Mater Motley's sister. Do you think that one's on a canvas, or is that? Let's see. I bet it's on a smaller page, but it's definitely got the thick paint on it.
Well, when you look at so there's a link for the Clive Barker Archive store where you can see all these paintings. Mater Motley's sister has already been sold, and it's sold for $3,500.
Whoa.
And it says there was mixed media and collage on paper.
Oh, okay. So
it's
it was
studio
on paper.
painting. Yeah, I think all these things are on paper.
That one's amazing too, and he hints in that one that it's going to Mater Motley's sister is going to feature prominently in Motley's backstory. Yeah,
and this is going to be. They're going to not just talk about how Mater Motley is ruthless and cruel, but also they're going to talk about a little bit about love.
Yeah,
and family.
She sewed Christopher's mouth together when he said, just for saying the word love. So something really bad must have happened to her.
Did you get surprised at the fact that Mater Motley has a sister?
Yeah. That's the first any of us have heard anything about her family beyond, her progeny, right?
Right, because it always seems like she's this larger-than-life figure, almost creating herself or something. But it turns out she has a sister. He does tease that in this piece, and it's a beautiful piece. She's very similar to Mater Motley herself, except she wears a dress made of green.
Yeah,
and the rest of the background is a lot of reds and yellows and greens, kind of splotched together in the impasto. So this is a lot of paint on this.
Yeah, it's a great painting. And then, did you read his description of infestation, where
infestation?
He talked about when he would go to Kauai, these stray dogs that were living on the beach would come up to him and they'd be just full of ticks, and so they would spend all this time killing the ticks and getting them off of these poor dogs.
Yeah, that's terrible. And I don't know if how squeamish you are, but there are these YouTube videos that people can look up, and then some of them are about animals or people infested with botfly larvae. No. Have you ever seen any of those?
No.
Those are terrible because they don't just latch onto your skin. They burrow into your flesh, and then usually they have to pull them out with pincers, and they leave behind a hole on the flesh of the animal or the person that they were burrowing into. And it's just horrible. Parasites are one of those things that I guess I don't know how important they are in the food chain. I guess we could all do without parasites. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
But I like the bug-like creatures that he painted for infestation, and the way that he splotched paint over them. It kind of gives them this kind of color that's almost organic. You can almost believe that this is there's a real bug.
Yeah. Yeah, or this feeling of like frantic movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for sure the sac brood were one of the best examples of insect creatures in Clive Barker's work. They could blot out the sky and make this giant nacre shell over the sky of the Aberrat, right? I didn't expect them to do that, to be honest, when I read Aberrat 3. I expected they were just going to come out and eat things and destroy everything, but it turns out they just took flight and then they just got stuck in the ceiling of the sky, which is weird.
Yeah, they were sort of magically programmed to do that, I guess.
Yeah. But Infestation is beautiful. And then there's London Ghost that we talked about. And then there's one of Matter Motley's Fools. So it seems like she does have a sense of humor.
I guess so. I mean, it's not that we've seen so far, but I guess we'll find out. But he says in this interview that you wouldn't have much to smile about being Mater Motley's Fool.
Yeah, I don't know if this is supposed to be a living creature or one of the mud-filled stitchlings that she creates.
I think he's a living creature.
Yeah, he's pretty deformed, and he's got this little frilly collar like a fool. And I think he inspired himself on this. He mentions the paintings of Velázquez. So the Spanish kings, the Fool, which there's the little girls painting, where there's like a little Poochie, and then there's like the princesses, and then there's like a little guy who's a little person in the painting. I'm not saying he's a fool or a jester, but he's just there. So he's kind of a reference for how he painted this particular creature.
And then we have Ghost in a Fire, which is pretty self-explanatory.
This would make a heck of a cover for an album.
Oh, yeah, it would. And he says it's Aberrat related, but he's not 100% sure that it's going to actually be featured in Aberrat. I think, or maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
He says there's actually, this is actually, I have no other title for it than Ghosts in a Fire. It's actually spirits, again, Aberrat. And I don't know if I'll have this one in the book or not. There's a cloud of black smoke on the left-hand side of the painting that refers, I guess, to the fire. But within these uprights of blackened wood, there are ghosts. So there's like a skull or a skeletal figure kind of like coming out of this like burning stick on the floor.
Yeah.
It's very rough painting. It's a very rough paper really painting, is. But
and then I like the colors. The good animal. So, and he talks about how this creature looks like a monster. It's got kind of a bat spidery face, but he's actually a philosopher.
That's something Clive would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually is for sale for $2,800. And you can get it at the CliveBarkerArchive.com/store. Yeah. It's got a lot of nice colors to it, right? It's got this kind of like this orangey yellow for the body. It reminds me a little bit of the engineer in the Hellraiser movie.
Oh, yeah,
the creature.
Right. And he's got like a scorpion tail.
Yeah, and he's got these wings. He's got like how many sets of legs? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I count 8 legs and a tail. And then they're webbed between the legs, so it looks like he's got wings. Yeah. I imagine this creature would be able to jump from like buildings and kind of glide like a squirrel, which it makes it even more scary because he's got a weird looking head. Yeah.
And Captain Plane's ship is another one that gives you a little bit of a gives a little bit of Aberrat away with this one, just describing a captain who was waiting for his wife and he got tired of waiting and he turned around and left her.
And boy, does this ship has sails. I mean, wow. Yeah. Sails and upon sails, and it looks like all the boats in the Aberrat have their hull painted red. Yeah, I don't know if that's a reminiscence from Clive looking at boats in Liverpool, but
maybe so.
They all seem to have that red thing, but it really goes well with the blue of the sea, right?
And it keeps away the Mantisax.
Oh, there we go. There's a practical reason.
Yeah. And then the last one, The Sea Comes to Chicken Town. So this is an old, The Sea came to Chicken Town a long time ago in Aberrat 2, right? At the end of Aberrat 2.
Right, where Matter Motley comes in with her boat.
Yeah, but it's kind of a neat, almost photorealistic painting of the ocean, and it really gives you that feel of looking at the sea.
Yeah, that there's a wave about to break. Boy, is that good or what? Wow.
Yeah.
It is really good. It's got this crest of a wave, and there's white foam on top of the crest, and it feels like the water is swelling up, and it's just about ready to break on you.
Yeah, I bet somebody bought that already.
Yeah, this looks like it's a triptych, maybe, because I think I see like 2 seams.
Yeah,
and it's going for sale for $8,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me see the size of this.
Are there prints of these, or are they all originals? In this whole thing, they're all original?
Well, what I'm seeing at here is just the original store, the original art store. So they're all originals. And let me see what's the dimensions on this. Wow. It says triptych of pieces, each 22.5 by 30 inches. Wow. So the total size is 67.5 inches by 30.
Huh.
And it says acrylic on paper as published in Aberrat 2, Days of Magic, Nights of War.
Wow.
And it's signed by Clive on the reverse of each of the 3 sheets, of course. Wow. That is something that I wish I had $8,000 to blow on this.
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is something.
To have
some lucky guy is going to snatch this up.
Yeah, and to have something original from Aberrat would be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, the Revelation says, it's a big piece. It's imposing. And Clive says, yes, I think it's important that people know that, because when you get a frame around that, it's going to be quite a big piece of work. You're going to need a big wall for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Let me look into the archive and see if they have prints. I'm looking at the posters and prints section, and it seems like the only prints they have is still the Death's Head A3 poster, the Nightbreed screening poster, the Art of the Aberrat poster, which is actually sold out. Oh, look at all these posters are sold out. Oh boy, all of them are sold out. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So none of these are still available. I was just reading them, and then I saw the little sold out symbol.
I bet you the Revelatory interview had a hand in getting all this stuff sold out.
Oh, sure, yeah. And they've been pretty active with the archive, Phil and Sarah Stokes. They've actually, again, on Instagram, I saw they were launching on their personal account on Instagram, Phil and Sarah. They were launching the hashtag Your Archive Day 1, and they posted some pictures of the current archive of Clive Barker stuff, where you can see these very neat shelves, and all the manuscripts are there, and they're all lined up properly.
Huge row of just like Galilee.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have those pieces of furniture that we saw at the Seraphim Film offices, where they have the very, very narrow drawers where all the art is kept, stored horizontally. And so he says, let's see if we can keep up with Archive 30 this year. With a different theme every day, this month we'll see what goodies we can find to share. Hashtag Explore Your Archive, hashtag Clive Barker.
Wow.
And
that's cool. If that turns into a museum, I think we'd need to make a pilgrimage there.
Yeah. I wonder what building this is. I wonder if this is in the basement of Clive's house.
No, I'm imagining it's Phil and Sarah, but I don't know.
You think they took all this stuff back to London? That's a lot of stuff too.
I know, but that's kind of that was how I assumed.
Hey, maybe we can ask them,
because there's not really a Seraphim team managing this stuff anymore, right? I mean, I think Phil and Sarah are doing it.
Yeah, to the extent of my knowledge, yeah. But that is cool. Keep an eye out for that Instagram account.
Yeah, we'll follow that. And if that does become something that is open to the public, that would be so neat to visit.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link to their Instagram. I hope it's okay. It seems like they have a public account, so I'm going to put that in our show notes right here. So what is coming up next?
Well, this is episode 298, so we're going to actually this weekend stuff in one more episode so that we can, because I don't know if I counted right or what, but we need to get to 300 on our 300th episode. So So we're also going to be putting in Jericho Squad 77. We did an episode 0 sort of a thing where all the characters met in a dream, and it was a way for us to kind of introduce the bad guy in sort of an ominous dreamlike way, but also to teach everybody how D&D combat works, and just kind of get used to the idea of playing D&D. So it was a fun little kind of introductory episode that we did that we didn't air up until now. So it'll be sort of a bonus thing. We'll have that.
Yeah. We all the characters, we all woke up in an ice cave high up in the mountains somewhere in the third Dominion. I forgot.
Yeah,
but,
the third Dominion.
Yeah, and there's a lot of foreshadowing on that, but I hope people don't get confused. That was the start of the campaign for Jericho Squad 77.
And when you heard us talking about, who remembers the dream and the feelings they got from seeing somebody, the deja vu and stuff like this, this is what we were talking about.
Yep. That was a dream where we all kind of got the little thread uniting us into this this little thread that the dungeon master is pulling to get together the Squad 77.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm glad to get everybody together again, together now, because it makes the game a little easier than having separate people in separate locations. Yeah, so there's that. We've got episode 300, of course, and like we just teased at the beginning, you're going to want to join us for that. So I'll make a blog post about it too on the website. So if you don't see the event on Facebook, we'll also have a blog post with the Facebook event and the Zoom link on there.
Because you can join in. I mean, it's going to be an open event, and if you want to just join in and say hi, or come in and talk about the podcast, or show off your Clive Barker prized possessions, or whatever, we'd be more than happy to welcome you and talk to you a little bit.
And come and join our trivia contest for the second hour. We need contestants. So if you want to do that, test your Clive Barker knowledge. And I think we described this already, but like easy questions are worth 1 point, and intermediate are 3, and hard questions are worth 5. And we just do, 1 easy, 1 intermediate, 1 hard, and we'd keep, just rotating them like that. And whoever has the most points at the end is the winner.
Yeah, like Raul, join us, or Elena, or any of our backers. We'd be more than happy to talk to you guys and put you in the 300th spectacular.
And it's on April 11th. That's a Sunday. That's next Sunday. And 8 a.m. Alaska time, which only means anything to me. 9 a.m. Pacific time, like 11, like if you're in Texas, and noon for East Coast in the U.S. And England, I believe that's 5 p.m. in England.
Tea time.
Yeah, and then then Europe another hour, right? So another 2 hours. I think it's 7 p.m. It's all messed up because of the daylight savings time. Different places do it at different times, and
yeah. And if you're in the Aberrat, it depends on which island you're on.
That's right. You just book it to the island that's at the correct time, and then you'll be able to.
Yeah. I had to put that one in. I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah, right. So I forget which. I had a list of all and when we talked about Aberrat, I had a list of all the hours and their names.
Yeah. And so episode 300, where the past, the present, and the dreaming moment within are all going to come together.
That's right. Yep.
I just totally butchered that line.
The dreaming moment between. And
yes.
And we'll have an interview also coming up soon. We'll also be talking about Clive Barker Illustrator 1 and 2. We're going to be doing another A-Z commentary with Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which will be fun.
Yo.
Yeah. And I just saw that I have on the notes here, episode 300 is on here twice.
I'm going to listen to all the albums from Gravediggers in preparation for that.
I've never seen that movie.
I think it's a band. It's a rap band, right? It's
yeah. I mean, I've never seen Tales
the
from the Crypt.
And yeah, me neither. I or did I? I don't know. I don't think so. No. But I've seen other movies with Tales from the Crypt. So that's
and I watched that the other anthology movie that was talked about in this chapter of Clive Barker's A to Z of horror. In L is for Lynch Mob. I watched Tales from the Hood. That's the one.
Yeah,
Tales which
Hood.
was really good. Yeah, I liked that one. So we'll see how we like Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight.
Yep, that's going to be fun. We're going to have Ed and Nina join us again from Cenobium. And as usual, if anyone wants to join that too, let us know. Drop us a line, give us a review, listen to us on Spotify and iTunes and whatever you catch all your pods, and go to our store and get our merchandise.
And Apple is not calling it subscribe anymore. Now they're going to start calling it follow, because too many people think when you ask someone to subscribe, you're asking them to pay. Now the language is going to start changing to follow instead of subscribe, which is a little weird, but I mean, I guess I can understand it. I always, now it makes me wonder if all these times we ask people to subscribe, if they're thinking, oh no, I'm not paying for that. I can listen to it for free.
That would be unfortunate. They would be missing out.
Yeah.
Yep. So, looking forward to that episode 300. And I thanks again, guys, for listening to our episode, and drop us a line. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. Watch for our annual Kickstarter fundraisers to get some cool stuff, and you can buy t-shirts on our TeePublic store. Go to teepublic.com and search for BarkerCast.
Thanks for listening.